Hey up everybody, my name's Joshua Morrison, director of Johnny Moz's Lessons in Confidence, and today I want to talk to you a little bit about writing lyrics and how if you start writing lyrics with the intention of making them as good as possible, you're going to end up making uninspired, kind of phony, artificial works, and they're going to end up not being good just because of the amount of effort that you put into trying to make them good has kind of given you the opposite effect than you were trying to achieve. So writing lyrics is a very sort of odd thing to do because it's a very personal thing to put lyrics into song, even if it's about just a very basic topic, or it's about kind of a fun topic, or it doesn't have to be the deepest thing ever to still be quite personal, because what you write songs about is kind of a glimpse into your own personality and who you are and what you prioritize and what you see as worth discussing in music in general. And so I feel like there's so many great artists out there, there's so many great lyricists out there's so many wonderful lyrics. I think my favourite lyric at the moment, I've been listening to a lot of Akala, like the Fire in the Booths, and from I think it's Fire in the Booth 3, he's got one lyric which is what is it? They put their bodies in the sand to make us look bad. They put bullets in their head to make us feel sad. And it's kind of talking about like the US occupation of various Arab countries like Iraq and that kind of thing. And that on its own as a lyric, I think is just genius, because he's not overthought it. He's not gone super deep into it, but obviously he has a message that he is trying to get across. And throughout most of his lyrics, there's some parts where he rhymes the same word with itself a couple times, but what matters more than just the individual rhymes and the individual pieces is the overall collective whole. And I think that's what's important when you go into writing lyrics, is to try and think about it not in terms of this line and that kind of thing and how they interconnect, but to think of it as a whole piece and a whole song. What are you trying to achieve with your song? What are you trying to say with it? Are you trying to make a song about quite a serious subject like the US occupation of Iraq, or are you trying to make a fun little song about, I don't know, potatoes or something? Because those two different things are going to give you very different results. You're going to get a different song out of those different things, quite obviously. And I think it's important to write honestly, rather than to try and replicate what you see and to try and replicate what you think is good, because you're never going to be able to achieve that same thing. Right? Because you can only achieve what you can achieve. You can only achieve what is true and honest to yourself. Because all of these artists out there, right, they are all writing, like the ones that you really aspire to be and the ones that you look up to and respect. If they're great lyricists, they're not sat down and worrying about how to make the best lyrics ever. They're not trying to make deep lyrics. They're not trying to make insightful lyrics. They're trying to tell a story or to try and convey a simple or complicated idea in their own words and in their own way, and convey their worldview on this specific topic, right? And that's what you need to do. You need to write honestly, rather than trying to write well, because it's much more interesting to have a badly written song that is earnest and clearly trying to do something, rather than a song that is artificial and sort of phony about a topic maybe you don't particularly care about, or it's a topic that you do care about, but you've spent so much time refining and trying to figure out the perfect way to rhyme this line with that line, or to try and find the perfect word here with the right syllable count or whatever, that you end up getting into that, and then you get so into the individual trees that you end up losing the forest around you, right? So if you end up doing this, and I did it with my last album, Decisions in Another Language, I would spend months and months refining these lyrics, right? And I think the songs where I did that are probably the worst written songs on the album, and the best written songs are the ones that I did in 1 or 2 drafts. You do one draft where, most of the ideas come down, and then you do a little bit of tweaking because you realise, oh, actually that doesn't work, or oh, that bit doesn't quite work there. And it's when you've still got it all like seared in your mind because the burst of creativity has still just hit you and it's still wearing off. That's when you want to refine your lyrics. And at a certain point, you need to just put a line under it and just say, right, I've done my lyrics, these are the lyrics, okay? I'm not going to mess with them anymore, because the more you do it, the more you start to be discontent with your own writing, and the more you're discontent with your own writing, the harder it will be to write good lyrics no matter what. Because you know what? Most of the artists that you like, right, probably sat down and the thing that you respect them for the most, the song that you like the most, they probably at some point, close to the album's release, maybe thought, oh, these lyrics aren't that good. you know, like one of my favorite albums is Animals by Pink Floyd, and I can't remember the exact line of it, but like it's about the sheep following one another into the Valley of Steel, and it's kind of talking about like the industrialization process and people going into work, like the factory and stuff like that. I think anyway, I'm not entirely, but then part of why music and lyricism is so good, because it's poetry, and poetry is inherently slightly subjective, and it's subjective within the realms of the topic at hand. You know, it might not necessarily be about that particular part, it might be about a different particular part, but it's got you to think about the overall topic of the song in question. And that's what lyrics are good at. That's what poetry is for. It's to try and get you to think about whatever the artist wants you to think. And even if you come out with a slightly different interpretation than what the artist originally set out to do, to make you think, you've still managed to get something whole from that song. And if you can get that, then you can do it too. Because all you need to do is just write honestly. All you need to do is just write what matters to you in a very deep and true sort of way, and try and get that out to the world. And that might not necessarily mean you have to bare your heart and soul out over a fucking like song about, I don't know, how your father's died or something like that. It can be something more, you know, simple and quaint, because that can also be true to you. If you've got, I don't know, like it's very nice to have a cigarette on the balcony and look out over a grand vista. Make a song about that if that's something you enjoy doing. Make a song about football if you enjoy football. Like these are little things. There's a guy at the shop near me, right, who I've been saying hello to, and he's been saying hello to me for years, right? I don't know his name, and I feel a little bit bad about that, because I feel like I really should know his name, and he's a really nice guy, but it's way too late now for me to ask, hey, sorry, what is your name, by the way? I'm Josh. Nice to meet you. Even though I've been saying hi to you for 5 years, you know? And I'd like to make a song about that. It's not a big topic, but it's a quaint topic, but it's very deep and true to me, because it's my personal experience. And I think as long as it's your personal experience that you're putting down earnestly, other people will relate to it, because other people will probably have this same experience. They've probably gone to a shop and been saying hello to the same person for ages, and then gone back and realized, like, hang on, I don't know that guy's name. What's his name again? Oh shit, I don't know. You know, and you know, you can write about whatever you want to write about. Are you a deeply political sort of person? Then you can write about that. Are you a deeply philosophical person? Then you can write about that. Are you someone that is more interested in the world in a material, realistic sort of sense? Then you can write from that perspective. So write from whatever perspective fits you and feels true to you, rather than trying to replicate something that you're not, because that's what you consider to be good. Okay? Because you're never going to be your heroes. You can only be yourself, because your heroes had heroes that they wanted to be, and they didn't become those people. Like David Gilmour, for instance, was inspired by people like Chuck Berry, and he's very not similar to Chuck Berry in the slightest, but I imagine when he was a kid and when he was first learning guitar, before he got really successful, he would have thought, oh, I'd love to be like Chuck Berry. And now he's nothing like Chuck Berry, but he's incredibly successful because he's doing what's true to him. Right? So as long as you do what's true to you, you will find your own success, because it's your story that your life is your own story. And if you can tell it in a way that's interesting for other people, then you can get other people on board. And if you can get other people on board, then you're clearly doing something right. And you can just keep experimenting. Say you try writing a quaint song and it feels like it didn't quite feel right. Then you might try something else, and you might try that and it feels like it's not quite right. And then you keep trying stuff until you find what works for you. And when you find what works for you, then you have carved out a space for yourself in the world of music. And once you have done that, then you can get into figuring out where your boundaries are, push the boundaries, find new things and experiment. Because it's always good to experiment. It's always good to try new things. And it's always good to, and you don't necessarily have to write exactly what you know about. As long as you are aware of what could potentially be seen as naive, then you're free to do kind of whatever you want. And hell, even possibly the naivety could be an interesting aspect towards the song or the album, or whatever it is that you seek to make. And whatever it is that you want to write about is probably more universal than you think. Even if you write in extreme specifics, say you're a very analytical, logistical person, you can write from that perspective. You can write from all kinds of different perspectives, right? Now, I got sent this picture meme thing, right, by someone, and I just want to get it up for you, because it's a load of different ways of interpreting the same sort of lyrics, right? It's the same way of seeing things in different colors, essentially. So let me just get it up. So it's a brief history of modern art and poetry, and it's got impressionism. Roses sway in softened reds, violets swim in murky blues, sugar sparkles in the light, blurring into golden hue. Right? Now you've got pop art. Roses go blam, violets go pow, sugar is cool, you are so wow. Right? And then you've got conceptual art. Roses are red, coated in blood, a deer's severed head drips from above. Right? Then you've got pointillism, which I don't really know what that is. Roses have a black spot, you're spotty too. Sugar is granulated, I'm dotty for you, right? So those were incredibly different ways of approaching the very simple roses are red, violets are blue sort of thing, right? So you've got so many different ways of actually approaching the same topic. And you can try different ways of approaching the same topic. It's not like you can't write about the same topic more than once. If you've written about a topic and you feel like you didn't quite get it the first time, you're free to try again. You know, it's not like you have to pay to write. It's not like you can only do a subject so many times. You can do it until you're bored of it, right? Because there's so many, like, look at Taylor Swift. How many times has she written about boyfriends and stuff like that? People might make the odd joke about her doing that, but if it feels true to her, then why can't she do that? Why can't she do whatever she wants to do? The same way that you're free to do whatever you want to do, right? Because people criticised her for writing about the same topic again and again. She's one of the most successful people in the universe, right? So you're free to do exactly that as well. You're free to write about whatever you want to write about, because it's better to write honest lyrics than it is to write good lyrics. It would be much more interesting to write a series of bad lyrics that are maybe naive and not very well put together, that don't necessarily make a lot of sense, but are true and honest to who you are, than it is to write this kind of grand sort of thing that doesn't feel like you, but you're trying to be something that you're not, right? But sure, maybe the lyrics themselves have some kind of deep message behind them, or maybe you're writing about some big grand topic like religion or something like that, but you don't know how to convey those topics. And sure, maybe you manage to, do a load of Googling and find a load of words that you don't like. I used to Google fucking random pretentious sort of words, like big words, so that I could put them into songs. And I realized just how stupid and pointless that was, because these words mean nothing to me, right? They have meanings, but to me, I've never used these words, right? I don't go around saying big fancy words like that. I can't think of any examples off the top of my head. But you know the kind of words, that, someone says them to you and then you kind of have to Google them and go, oh, that's what it's about, right? Like pontificate, right? I don't really say pontificate, and I put it in a song. Why did I do that? It means nothing to me, but I was trying to convey a meaning anyway, right? So I think that's going to be the overall message of the video, is that don't go and try and write some grand thing that isn't you. Instead, just write what is you, and you'll find your conscious voice will define itself because of that. So thank you very much for watching this video, everybody. Hope you have a good rest of the day. Please let me know what your best lyric was, and why was it your favorite lyric? Why did you like this lyric the most? And was it necessarily about a topic that was the most near and dear to your heart? Or was it actually about a topic that isn't like the most important thing to you, but you do care about it, and you still wanted to write about it? Because you don't have to write about only the stuff that matters to you, like more than anything else in the universe, because that would get a bit repetitive after a while. There's only so many times you can write about, all the problems in the universe, or like the grandest topics around there, or like the thing that matters the most to you. Sometimes it's fun to just write a little song, and sometimes it's fun to write a big song about a grand idea, right? So take care, everybody. Hope you have a good rest of the day, and yeah, bye-bye. Oh. On the way here, I stepped in a bog. Great. It fucking stinks.